Hello and welcome back to our lessons on essay writing. In this video, we will look at the manner in which we ought to plan the skeleton of the essay before we begin to write it as a final draft. Let us start the process one step at a time. The first thing that you must do when you get your question paper is to have a very careful look at the various topics that have been given for writing an essay. You are required to write an essay of 500 words on any one of them. And thus, the first vital decision that you have to make is over the choice of a topic. While you decide upon the right topic of the given options, you must be very clear over a few things. The first important thing to remember is that you are giving a competitive exam. Thus, you need to make the best use of your resources. Time here is an important resource, and you cannot afford to waste it at all. Thus, do not make the mistake of choosing a topic that you are not entirely sure of, and then finding yourself forced to leave it halfway and choose some other topic. This is a very bad strategy, and not just causes the waste of precious exam time, but also increases a student's mental pressure due to a bad decision. Thus, take 5 minutes of the total time that you have and spend those 5 minutes fruitfully by carefully considering every essay topic that you have been given. Read each topic carefully, consider its parameters, and very honestly judge your own competence in that topic. Ask yourself if you are unsure, or if you can't think of at least 4 to 5 good arguments about the topic, then move on to the next option. Do this with all the topics that have been given and choose the one that you feel the most comfortable with. This will take 5 to 7 minutes of your time, but those 5 to 7 minutes will be well spent, as they will prevent you from the need to change your essay subject halfway through having written on your initial selection. Okay, once you have selected your topic, the next thing that you need to do is to brainstorm about the subject that has been chosen. Brainstorming involves making quick and very brief notes of the ideas that occur to you about the topic. Jot down very rapidly and in no order the ideas that occur to you. For example, let us assume that I have chosen to write an essay on the topic, "Does politics need ethics?" My brainstorming will involve scribbling down on a scrap of paper all the ideas that come to my mind on it. So, I will write down the following. Yes, politics needs ethics. Why? Because some fundamental values are needed for right governance. Okay, next, we could try to include something on the larger context. So let me write down long history of the debate. Next, I can think of the theory of social contract and its relevance for this debate. So I should very briefly write down the following. Social contract, criticism of ethics in politics, fallacious. What next? Maybe something about diverse nature of societies complicating the idea of ethics. So my next point is heterogeneous society. Same ethics may not apply to all. Moving on and taking a cue from the above point, maybe I should try to historicize the two terms. This will add more substance to my arguments. So, Politics and ethics, historical terms, mean different things to different people. Okay, going back to my assertion of the need for ethics in politics, what are the reasons that I can give for it? One important thing is that it is important for healthy and tolerant society. How is it important for promoting a tolerant and healthy society? Well, through its importance for conflict resolution due to arbitrary distribution of power among people. Alright, what else can I think of on that topic? There could be difference between ethics and justice in some cases. What is defined as ethical in a society may not necessarily be just. So I will mention next that ethics and justice may not be the same in some cases. As an additional idea of the above point, I can also debate that at times, despite best intentions, it is not possible to be ethical towards everyone in a society. So I should write down, sometimes difficult to be ethical to all as conflicting choices needed. Therefore, I think I can claim with fairness that ethics and politics are abstract terms till applied to people's lives. Finally, I think I will stop with the idea that we need to constantly investigate the idea of morality in a society. Okay, I have these points as very broad outlines for writing my essay. I am clear of one thing though. I think that ethics are needed in politics, and I will write my essay accordingly. The next thing that I will do is to organize my ideas into an order of importance. I will see which ideas are more important than others and which ones are less so that I can prioritize them accordingly. I do not want unimportant or associated ideas to come first and the heavyweights to tag along in the latter part of the essay. I will also try to determine what should go into the introduction, what ideas should constitute the body paragraphs, and finally, what should be my conclusion. So, here is my rough sheet with all the points that I have written down. Let me begin by first marking them in the order of their importance. Okay. The first point is, yes, politics needs ethics, some fundamental values needed for right governance. This will be the part of the introductory para as it spells out the position that I have taken to argue in my essay. So I will scribble intro alongside it. The next point says, long history of the debate. Now, this again can be a part of the intro as it sets out a context for my claim. Third point is social contract. Criticism of ethics in politics, fallacious. I will leave this point for the time being as it should come lower down in my essay. It should be inclined at the point when I demonstrate the falsity of the counterclaim that politics should be independent of ethics. The next part is about heterogeneous society, good for some, not for all. This can be one of the latter paras, but not the first one, as it is not the most influential idea of my essay. It is merely a supporting argument, thus should be lower in the list of priority. Moving on, the next point reads as, politics and ethics, historical terms, mean different things to different people. Okay, now this is an important point, but it can be stated only after my central claim has been explained in some detail. Therefore, it will have to be ignored for the moment, and I will continue to read down the list. The next item in the list reads as important for healthy and tolerant society. This is what I was looking for. This idea continues naturally from the introduction and explains in greater detail why ethics is necessary for politics. Thus, I will mark this as 1. The point on the rough sheet after this is important for conflict resolution due to arbitrary distribution of power among people. This could be my second point, as it demonstrates the advantage of having an ethical political system. It also follows logically from point 1. Thus, it is appropriate as point 2. The next point in the list is ethics and justice may not be the same in same cases. This idea seems related to an earlier point that I had written down in my list, the one on the historical nature of ethics and politics. Therefore, this point should follow after that one. I will mark that point as 3 and the idea where ethics may be different from justice as 4. There was also yet another related point earlier which stated that heterogeneous society, same ethics may not apply to all. I will make it point number 5. The next item on the list reads as sometimes difficult to be ethical to all as conflicting choices needed. This idea is related to the series of ideas that we are listing at the moment. So let us title this as point 6. Alright then, the next idea that I have mentioned is of abstract terms till applied to people's lives. This sounds like a generalization that should go in the conclusion, as it seems to sum up the largest shape of my argument. Thus, I will mark this as conclusion. The idea that follows next is need to constantly investigate the idea of morality in a society. This argument should be one of the last ones, as it should be a part of the conclusion of the essay. I want to include it in the conclusion as it is again a summing up argument. Thus, I will mark this as conclusion 2. Okay, the point that I have left earlier on about social contract, criticism of ethics in politics fallacious, still needs to be numbered. Since this is a review and dismissal of the claim counter to mine, I will include it in the essay just before the conclusion. Thus, this is point 7. Alright, as you can see, every point has been given a position in the essay. This has made things very easy for me, as now when I have to write my essay, I only have to consult my scrap paper and elaborate on the points that I have loosely written down and correctly ordered. All this took me around 5 to 7 minutes to complete. But what I have achieved in the process is that I have saved myself a lot of time and stress when I write the essay. This is so because now when I write, I don't have to interrupt the flow of my thoughts in order to try and come up with yet another point to include in the essay. The skeleton of my essay is ready. I just have to add the details on it in the form of explanations, examples, and supporting evidences. Also, Since I already know the order in which I have to include the various points, I can smoothly connect one para to the next and give the appearance of having written a coherent, well-organized essay. My paragraphs will not seem jerky and unconnected with each other. Similarly, I have also managed to organize my ideas into an order of priority. Thus, the important ideas of my essays will find expression prominently, and they will not be tucked away somewhere in the corner. The chaotic arrangement of ideas is one of the very important reasons why students lose marks in writing section of language papers. An unplanned writer generally tends to include ideas as and when they occur to him, and thus this gives a very poor shape to the written material. Brainstorming and drawing a rough skeleton of the ideas prevents cancellation of lines or paragraphs from the essay, and thus also make your answer look neat. And because you have planned your essay well, you can also be more careful with your handwriting and make it as legible and reader friendly as is possible. Keep these points in mind while you brainstorm, and you are bound to do well in your exams. Let me stop here for now. See you again in the next lesson. Goodbye.